hear the name Gatling, one thing comes to mind. You've seen it in movies and TV shows. Although the Gatling gun was not the first true machine gun, nor was it even the first rapid-fire reloading weapon on the battlefield, it nonetheless revolutionized modern warfare and inspired various other models that have been used in conflicts for more than 150 years. The man whose name will forever be associated with this intimidating weapon was the inventor Richard Gatling, who was a North Carolinian. This is Carolina Finds. Dr. Richard Jordan Gatling was born in 1818 in Hartford County in the eastern part of the state near the Virginia border. He had 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and their family lived on an enslaving plantation that spanned more than 1,000 acres. His father Jordan was himself something of an inventor who patented machines for planting and thinning cotton. He passed this knack for innovation to his sons, and Richard's older brother conducted early experiments in human flight. Richard was briefly appointed as the headmaster of a local school, but he also felt the call of invention. He tried to patent a design for an early screw-type ship propeller to replace the paddle boat wheels of the era, only to find out that the Scandinavian-American inventor John Ericsson had beat him to it with an almost identical design. Richard got his first successful patent in 1839 for a rice seed planter. He moved to St. Louis in 1844 and adapted this design to a wheat planter, which made a significant impact on Midwestern wheat cultivation. In the winter of 1845, Gatling took a business trip on a paddle boat and contracted smallpox. He was unable to receive medication for almost 2 weeks and nearly died from his illness. He did eventually recover and decided to pursue medicine as a result. He received his physician's diploma in 1850, but never ended up actually practicing medicine. He moved to Indianapolis that same year and returned to inventing, designing a hemp breaking machine. In 1857, he created a steam plow. At the beginning of the Civil War in 1861, Gatling visited the train station to see dead and injured troops being returned from the front lines. He began to study the casualties coming in and realized that only about 3 out of every 18 troops suffered bullet injuries. The remaining returning troops had mostly contracted disease, such as pneumonia or fever. This realization led Richard Gatling to an interesting thought. What if a gun could be designed to rapidly fire many rounds, enabling fewer soldiers to do the job of many? The reduction in troops, he reasoned, would limit the spread of illness and thus actually reduce casualties overall. Gatling's design featured several unique elements. The concept was loosely based on the seed-spreading devices he had worked on previously. A hand crank would rotate multiple barrels into a firing position, usually at 4 o'clock. The rotating collection of barrels would reduce heat generated by rapid fire. The early models featured 6 barrels, and later designs would go up to as many as 10. A lock and cam mechanism would load cartridges into each barrel and cock them before landing in the firing position. Each barrel had its own firing mechanism, which was unique to the Gatling gun. Gatling obtained the patent in 1862 and formed the Gatling Gun Company. The result was a formidable and intimidating weapon. The first Gatling guns could fire 200 rounds per minute. And although Gatling had developed it for the Civil War, it was not immediately adopted. Gatling was a Unionist, but because of his North Carolina roots, he was suspected of being a Copperhead, although this was never proven. The first 6 Gatling guns were destroyed in a factory fire in December of 1862. No one knows what happened, and Richard Gatling had built them with his own money. Determined to carry on, he had another 13 built by the end of the war. It is believed that only a few saw action in the Civil War, and there are contested accounts that Gatling guns were used in battle on the James River in Virginia in 1864. The U.S. Army did not officially purchase Gatling guns until 1866. The infamous Battle of Little Bighorn notably did not use any Gatling guns. Gatling guns would be used by the British in the Anglo-Ashanti Wars in Africa in 1879 and in their Egypt campaign in 1882. Gatling's final contribution to the design was an 1893 mechanical version that used an electric motor instead of a hand crank. Richard Gatling would remain president of the company until it was sold to Colt in 1897. In 1911, the Army officially designated the hand crank model obsolete and instead focused on electric motor-driven updates. By the time the United States entered World War I in 1917, the Army had moved on to fully automatic machine gun designs, like the Browning M1917. The Gatling gun eventually inspired other weapons, notably the M61 Vulcan and the M134 minigun, both of which have been used in conflicts from Vietnam to Afghanistan. But whenever people see that heavy-duty rotating array of barrels firing off, the name Gatling may come to mind. Hollywood loves the Gatling gun and the weapons it inspired, and this carries on today. And while that may have been his most famous invention, it's important to remember that Dr. Gatling also invented quite a few other machines, mostly for agriculture, and those helped develop and improve farming practices in the United States. If you enjoyed watching this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more interesting Carolina finds. Thanks.